This is the story of Eliza and her terrifying night at Blackwood Manor. The rusty gates creaked open. Eliza gripped the steering wheel, her heart racing. Blackwood Manor stood tall and scary, covered in a strange fog. A shiver went down her spine as she got out of the car. The air turned icy cold. Crunchy dead leaves under her feet were the only sound. She walked toward the house, each step filled with fear. At the front door, it creaked open on its own, like it wanted her to come in. Eliza paused. A low moan seemed to come from deep inside the house. Taking a big breath, she stepped in and the door slammed shut. The sound echoed through the empty hall, making her shiver again. Dust floated in the little bit of moonlight coming through the dirty windows. Spiderwebs hung everywhere like spooky Halloween decorations. The air smelled old and rotten. Eliza moved carefully, her footsteps echoing. Suddenly a floorboard creaked upstairs. Eliza froze, scared stiff. She listened hard, but the sound didn't happen again. She told herself the house was just old, but she felt even more scared. Then a high-pitched whine cut through the quiet coming from down the hall. Eliza spun around, looking into the shadows. The sound seemed to be coming from a room at the end of the hall. Its door opened just a crack. Shaking, she slowly walked toward it. The room was dark, only a little moonlight from the hall lighting it up. Eliza felt for a light switch, but it didn't work. She took a scary step inside, her heart pounding. The air smelled like mildew and something else, something sickeningly sweet. As her eyes got used to the dark, she saw a big wooden desk in the middle of the room. It was covered in dust, except for a small leather diary. Eliza picked it up, brushing the dust off. The diary felt oddly warm. As she opened it, a gust of cold air blew through the room, putting out the only candle she had. Eliza gasped, dropping the diary. It fell open to a page filled with messy handwriting. Eliza leaned close to the diary, reading the faded words. They were scary, full of fear. The person who wrote this talked about something evil living in the mansion, something hungry. Suddenly a cold hand grabbed Eliza's shoulder. She screamed, jumping back and turning around. But no one was there. The room was empty. She was alone. Eliza stumbled back, her eyes wide with terror. She could feel it now, the evil presence. It was cold and mean, and it was all around her. A creepy, raspy voice whispered in her ear, "You shouldn't have come here." Eliza was trapped in Blackwood Manor, her screams lost in the scary darkness. The mansion felt like it was changing around her. Hallways seemed to go on forever, and doors led to dead ends. She was lost in a scary maze of shadows. She reached for the doorknob, but it twisted and turned by itself. A cold wind whooshed through the hallway, and she heard mean whispers. Eliza struggled to breathe, trying not to freak out. She ran down another hallway, the walls feeling closer and closer. Paintings of dead people on the walls seemed to watch her with empty eyes, like they were judging her. Eliza tripped, her fingers touching a cold mirror. She looked at her reflection, but it wasn't her. It was a shadowy figure with a creepy grin. Pure panic hit her. She turned and ran, her footsteps echoing in the quiet halls. The floors creaked and groaned like the house was trying to swallow her. She found some stairs and ran down, each step feeling like a jump into the unknown. Suddenly the air got thick and hard to breathe. Eliza coughed, her eyes getting blurry. The walls felt like they were pulsing with an evil energy closing in. She heard faint laughter, cruel and mocking, coming from the darkness. Eliza's legs were shaking, but she kept going. She found a big, heavy wooden door and pushed it open. The room was dimly lit. It was colder in here, the shadows darker. She stepped inside, looking for a way out. The room was full of old furniture covered in dust and spiderwebs. A big window at the far end looked like a way to escape. Eliza ran towards it, feeling a little bit of hope, but as she got to the window, the glass shattered. Ghostly hands grabbed her, pulling her back into the darkness. Eliza screamed, her voice echoing through the empty mansion. She fought back, but the grip was too strong. She scrambled to her feet, her eyes wide with fear. She knew she couldn't give up. She had to find a way out. She had to live. Eliza, more determined than ever, pushed forward even though the shadows were all around her. The mansion felt evil, and it wasn't going to let her go easily, but Eliza was strong. She would escape Blackwood Manor, or she would die trying. Eliza's resolve was unshakable. She ventured deeper into the mansion, her fear giving way to a burning curiosity. What was this place? What had happened here? She entered a small, dusty study. The room was filled with old books, yellowed papers, and broken furniture. In the dim light, she noticed a desk in the corner, covered in a thick layer of dust. Eliza hesitated, then approached the desk. She brushed away the dust, revealing a stack of old newspapers. Her hands trembled as she picked up the top one, dated over 100 years ago. The headline sent chills down her spine. Tragic fire at Blackwood Manor claims entire family. Eliza's eyes widened as she read on, learning about the horrific events that had unfolded in the very place she now stood. The article detailed a mysterious fire that had consumed the manor one fateful night. The entire Blackwood family had perished, their bodies never recovered. Rumors of ghostly sightings and unexplained phenomena had haunted the mansion ever since. Eliza's heart raced as she continued to read. The paper mentioned a young girl, Eliza Blackwood, who had been rumored to survive the fire but was never found. Could it be a coincidence, or was there a deeper connection? She felt a cold shiver run down her spine as she realized that the shadows, the whispers, and the ghostly hands could be the restless spirits of the Blackwood family, trapped in a cycle of torment. Eliza knew she had to uncover the truth and put an end to the haunting. She had to find a way to free the spirits and escape the mansion's dark grip. With renewed determination, she folded the newspaper and tucked it into her pocket. The mansion's history had given her a new purpose. She would not only fight for her survival, but for the souls trapped within Blackwood Manor. Eliza took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. The shadows seemed to close in around her, but she was no longer afraid. She had a mission now, and she would see it through to the end. As Eliza left the dusty study, clutching the newspaper tightly, she felt an inexplicable pull guiding her deeper into the mansion. The air grew heavier, and the shadows seemed to whisper her name. Following the eerie sensation, she found herself in front of an old, ornate mirror. Its surface was cracked, and the frame was adorned with intricate carvings. Eliza's reflection seemed to waver, and she noticed a faint glimmer behind the mirror. With trembling hands, she pushed it aside, revealing a hidden door. Her heart pounded as she turned the rusted handle and stepped into the concealed room. The room was small and dimly lit, filled with the scent of mildew and decay. In the center of the room, a wooden table held a single flickering candle and a stack of old yellowed papers. Eliza approached the table, her eyes drawn to a message scrawled in a hurried hand on the top sheet. The note read, "To whoever finds this, beware. The entity that haunts Blackwood Manor is relentless. It feeds on fear and despair. I was trapped here, just like you. My name is Thomas, and I have spent years trying to escape. I've discovered that the spirits are bound to this place by an ancient curse. To break it, you must find the source of the curse, the Blackwood family's hidden relic. It's the key to freeing the souls and ending the haunting. But beware, the entity will do everything in its power to stop you. Trust no one and stay strong. Your only hope lies in uncovering the relic and destroying it. Good luck!" Eliza felt a surge of hope and determination. Thomas's desperate plea resonated with her own resolve. She knew now that her path was clear. She had to find the relic and break the curse. With renewed purpose, Eliza pocketed the note and left the hidden room, ready to face whatever horrors awaited her. The fate of the Blackwood spirits and her own depended on it. Eliza's heart raced as she made her way through the twisting corridors of Blackwood Manor, the note from Thomas clutched tightly in her hand. She knew the entity would not let her go easily, but she was determined to end the curse and free the trapped souls. The mansion seemed to groan and creak in protest as she approached the grand hall, where she sensed the source of the curse lay hidden. The air grew colder, and a thick fog began to envelop the room, making it difficult to see. Eliza steeled herself, remembering Thomas's words, "Trust no one and stay strong." Suddenly, a chilling presence filled the room, and Eliza could feel the entity's malevolent gaze upon her. Shadows twisted and writhed, forming a dark, menacing figure that seemed to grow larger with each passing moment. The entity spoke in a voice that echoed with centuries of suffering. "You cannot escape, Eliza. This place will be your tomb." Summoning all her courage, Eliza held up the note and shouted, "I know your secret. The curse can be broken, and I will find the relic." The entity let out a guttural roar, and the room shook violently. Eliza stumbled but managed to stay on her feet, her determination unwavering. She scanned the room, her eyes locking onto a large, ornate chest, partially hidden behind a decaying tapestry. She rushed towards it, her hands trembling as she lifted the heavy lid. Inside, she found a small, intricately carved box. Eliza opened it to reveal a shimmering, ancient relic. The air around her seemed to hum with energy as she lifted the relic high. The entity shrieked in fury, its form becoming more unstable. "No, you cannot destroy it!" Eliza's voice was firm as she replied, "This ends now." With a final, determined effort, she smashed the relic against the floor. A blinding light filled the room, and the entity let out a final agonized scream before dissipating into nothingness. The fog lifted, and the oppressive atmosphere of the mansion began to clear. Eliza fell to her knees, exhausted but triumphant. The spirits of Blackwood Manor, now free, whispered their gratitude before fading into the light. Eliza knew she had done it. She had broken the curse and freed the trapped souls. As she left the mansion, the first rays of dawn broke through the darkness, signaling a new beginning. Her ordeal was over, but the memory of her bravery would live on forever. As Eliza emerged from the crumbling manor, the dawn's light bathed her in a warmth that felt almost foreign after the chilling ordeal she had endured. Her body ached, and her mind was a whirlwind of emotions, but she knew she had achieved something monumental. The curse of Blackwood Manor was broken, and the trapped souls were finally at peace. Yet the experience had left a deep scar on her soul. The images of the twisted shadows and the entity's malevolent gaze haunted her every thought. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Determined to prevent others from falling into similar traps, Eliza made a vow. She would uncover more about the dark entity that had plagued Blackwood Manor and ensure that it could never harm anyone again. With a newfound purpose, she set off into the rising sun, knowing that her journey was far from over. The battle at Blackwood Manor might have ended, but a larger war against the darkness had just begun, and Eliza was ready to face it no matter the cost. As she walked away, the mansion stood silent behind her, a relic of a dark past that had finally been put to rest. But Eliza's